College. This is what they call the time of our lives. We feel like we're the high rollers even just by taking the first step on this new environment. We meet new friends, find our so-called soulmates, have our own little taste of independence, and learn the more practical things for our future career. This is also the time where we are exposed to what we thought back in high school was just real in TV shows and movies. Booze, parties, cigarettes, drugs, and even sex. With the independence that is given to us, it's easy to get away with everything. Yes, this is the time of our lives. But for some, they aren't so lucky. They get exposed to family problems, get peer pressure to doing things that they don't like, then get caught in the process, have broken relationships with friends or relatives which they don't know how to handle very well, and other similar problems. Depression, anger, hopelessness kicks in. It may last a day, 2 weeks, or even a few months. Would you think that just after taking a long nap, it would go away? But what if it doesn't? Would you be able to distinguish if it were just a moment of sadness or something else? Clinical depression, also known as major depressive disorder or unipolar depression, is a serious mental disorder that affects how people think, feel, and act in their daily lives. Having this disorder is not the same as having a lonely feeling that lasts for just a few days. This illness greatly affects their daily habits, the eating time they have, the quantity of food that they partake, the sleeping hours they usually have, and the way they interact with people. Loss of interest in activities that were once pleasurable for them is also evident. Their emotions are very unstable, and they do not even know why. Without treatment, this disorder can last for years, and the people may actually have the desire to end their lives. You may know what causes your sadness, as it may have a clear reason. But for the depressed, it is not always that clear. These may be some causes of clinical depression. For college students, stress is a big factor that may cause this disorder. Financial problems, pressure with getting high grades, family concerns, peer pressure, not being able to fit in a crowd, time management, and unexpected life changes. Drugs and alcohol can also be the cause of amplifying the depression. There is a significant and noticeable change in the functions of the person who has this mental illness. In the physical aspect, there is a change in the appetite. They may either eat more than they usually do or lose a lot of weight. Disturbances in sleep can also occur almost every day, either sleeping more than usual or not falling asleep. Fatigue and stress, headaches, and other physical pains in the body may also happen. Loss of interest in pleasurable activities that were once enjoyable for them is also evident. Difficulty in thinking and concentrating may happen as well. Decision making is also hampered. Persistent feeling of worthlessness and guilt for no good reason is evident. For young adults, they are more irritable than sad. Thoughts of death and suicide may also be at risk. Remember that these symptoms happen in the course of 2 weeks or may even last for many years. If you experience these, seek help immediately.
My brother-in-law is a fresh graduate. He is extremely talented in the field of graphic design and animation, but he never gets to go out. He likes to stay at home, talking only to his brother, who he considers as his best and only friend. The sad thing about it is that he doesn't consider him the same. We would always try to take him out to casual dinners or to movies, but he would never want to come with us. He can't make decisions on his own. He would always consult me, even with little things like what would be nice to wear for the day. He does have prescription drugs, but it would only calm him down. It doesn't help him go through the depression because he doesn't want us to help him at all.
If you want to define depression, it is basically a condition where the person is feeling anger and frustration, but this anger and frustration cannot really be expressed in a concrete way outwards, so it goes towards herself. She's angry and frustrated at herself. And the manifestations of depression are, for a student, it will be a normally intelligent student who can do her schoolwork on time will suddenly not be able to function normally. She will not be able to submit her grades. She will start having failing results in her tests. Those are some indicative signs that the student is undergoing a state of depression. So in case you suspect that you have a friend who is depressed, basically the first thing that you should do is to allow her to speak and to be a good listener. To be a good listener means you must not be judgmental, so that the person can be open and tell you the circumstances. Because the circumstances can be really very, very personal and very painful. In the case of my students, one was in a state of depression because she had been abused by a relative. Another one was in a state of depression because her father was having an extramarital affair. So the causes of depression are diverse and can be very deep and painful. So for the peers who are listening, they should listen attentively and without judgment and with compassion. What do you do? This is an actual case. One of my students said her friends led her to a prayer group where she was able to develop a prayer life, and that helped her. They prayed over her, and this also furthered her healing, where she was able to accept the painful circumstance, was able to forgive the person who had hurt her, who was able to forgive her father who was doing unrighteous act. So if you have a friend in depression, it would also be good if you can help her develop a prayer life. And thirdly, if the issue is really very difficult, and of course many of the cases which lead to depression are really serious, then it is best that you bring your friend to a competent counselor. In your school, there is a guidance counseling office, and they may be trained. And there are also outside institutions like Center for Family Ministry at the Ateneo who are also trained to help people who are depressed, to understand why they're depressed, to help them heal and be able to get out of that situation.
It's not too late to help your friends or relatives who have this illness. Keep them company most of the time that you're together. Make them feel comfortable and unagitated. If you think that these are not helpful enough, encourage them to seek professional help or even accompany them there. That way, you would make them feel that they are not alone in this endeavor. Remember, this is a serious mental disorder that needs to be treated thoroughly for it to go away. If you are in a way experiencing 3 or more of these symptoms, contact your guidance counselor in your respective schools. For more information about clinical depression, visit knowfightlive.net. Know it, fight it, live.